self-insured, President Railey, and the psychotic obsessive. President Railey, what does it say about you who responds to every post this insignificant psychotic obsessive writes? What psychological disorders are lurking in your psyche, you poor thing?
I do want to address an issue, of course, that's been a topic on Facebook about being self-insured, meaning Winmore is self-insured. See, I knew we didn't have insurance. Wrong, again and again and again. Give it up already.
No, President Railey, we are never giving it up, not until you and everyone else are held accountable.
Unfortunately, we are human. Unfortunately, some of us do make mistakes. What I'm referring to is an accident that occurred with one of our employees in a Winmore vehicle. When Coconut Creek Police took the report, they spoke to the employee. The employee either misunderstood about insurance, asked if we were insured, if we were self-insured, what our insurance was. Evidently, it was put on that we were self-insured on the police report.
Anyone believe this balderdash? President Railey wants us to believe that an accident involving a resident getting knocked over was so insignificant that it was left to the driver to handle the serious accident on his own. Some board members even claimed this man could not speak English. If this wasn't implausible enough, President Railey wants you to believe that the driver just made a human mistake when he pulled it out of the air that Winmore is self-insured. President Railey, not being able to resist embellishing her bullshit, claimed that the employee misunderstood the police officer when he was asked about insurance and self-insurance, and just like that, the employee stated, yes, Winmore is self-insured, and the police officer dutifully wrote it down. How many of you have had an accident? Have you ever been asked by the police if you are self-insured? No, not me either. Here's another thought President Railey overlooked in her enthusiasm to answer the insignificant psychotic. The police ask one question when you're involved in an accident. Show me your insurance card. Where was the driver's insurance card, President Railey? Or is Winmore exempt from having to have them? Another perk, perhaps, that Winmore receives from the city? President Railey's absurd pretext is so far removed from the truth that it collapses under scrutiny. She expects us to believe that this employee was left on his own to deal with a serious accident that resulted in a $3 million lawsuit. President Railey, in her enthusiasm to respond to this insignificant obsessive psychotic, forgot to consider the witnesses present at the accident. They all testified that there were other employees who were present. One of them was a supervisor. They all confirmed Winmore was self-insured. One of these witnesses is someone in authority who is above reproach. But President Railey, please do go on and keep digging a deeper hole.
We are not self-insured. And yes, here I go again, showing you a picture of the report. And if anyone would like to see it, it is here with the corrected information.
President Railey, here we go again, where you will show anything but the document that supports your claims. President Railey, should we just take your word for it because you have a stellar record of trustworthiness? Why would you offer to show the corrected information on the police report and not the actual insurance policy? As in the actual policy with the insured list of vehicles and drivers. Would that not have made more sense, President Railey?
Our administrator and one of our vice presidents went to City Hall to make sure the information was correct. And it was corrected. We do have travelers insurance.
This is too easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. So, President Railey expects you to believe that it was only after I announced on the site that the police report had self-insured that she, her administrator Bandler, and her vice president found out after nearly a year that the police report was a mistake. And she didn't send me a thank you note. On March 3rd, 2025, 2 days after I announced they were self-insured on Facebook, Bandler, together with the VP, we all know who that was, trotted down to the police station and had the police report changed. The accident occurred on May 13th, 2024. Why did they find it necessary to change the police report nearly a year after the accident if it was a non-issue and everything was perfectly in order? Did they go to all this trouble of Bandler having to leave work, accompanied by a vice president, to change the police report just to appease this insignificant, obsessive psychotic? Or was there another reason? Stick a pin in that. By the way, the proof that Bandler showed the police that they were insured by travelers was not an insurance card that every insured vehicle carries. President Railey's claims get even more ludicrous. Tim Renfrew, together with his management committee mates, want you to believe that an insurance company was willing to pay $3 million for a lawsuit that did not have their name listed on the police report. What are the probabilities of an insurance company paying out a penny if the police report had self-insured? Is any of this believable? Do you not think that if it was true that self-insurance was written by mistake, the insurance company, or hell, even Tim or Bandler, the $250,000 or more yearly income Winmore administrator, would have picked this up like a year ago when the report was filed? Tim, who President Railey waxes lyrical about his tip-top service, did not notice this mistake. It took this insignificant obsessive psychotic to discover it.
We have documentation that shows every policy that Winmore carries. This is getting very tiresome. I want you, the residents, to know that this is an obsessive psychotic that is doing this to our community.
I do have to agree with you. It is getting tiresome having to listen to you squirming out of every piece of evidence this obsessive psychotic presents. What I am doing to our community is exposing everything you have hidden, and I am making sure that every one of you will be held accountable. We cannot ignore that President Railey once again abused her position and used a public forum to make defamatory comments. Unless President Railey got her medical license that qualified her to make the diagnosis of obsessive psychotic.
Obsession and this hatred, for me personally, is affecting the community and not in a positive way. I'm tired of all the craziness that's going on. Every single one of us up here has worked too hard to make this community what it is today. And no matter how this person, I feel sorry for this insignificant person, because if she challenged her talents in the right direction, she might be able to do some good. Unfortunately, I don't think she knows how or is capable.
Obsession and hatred, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. This insignificant person doesn't like me. Here's a quick run through, President Railey, of some of what I have done for the community. Got the residents to email in their requests for documents against your wishes, forced you not to hide bids, forced you to present a minimum of 2 bids, forced you to delay an installation on an elevator so the residents would not be without one over the holidays, forced you to run your meetings a little closer to Robert's rules. But best of all, President Railey, those talents you mentioned is what got you all under investigation.